Welcome to the BBC.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Between Both Cheeks. I am sure you have heard of today's guest, the Estie Bestie, or if you've ever heard of just that term before, maybe you use that term yourself. Our guest today is Athena. She is the Estie Bestie, and she actually owns the trademark Estie Bestie, as well as patents and so many other things, multiple businesses, and she, I feel, is very similar to Bright. She is sassy. She's not afraid to speak up when other people are fucking around. She'll let them find out. So we're very excited to have Athena on the podcast today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. It's so funny that you said FAFO because I just got it tatted on my knee.
My God, no way.
Let's see.
No, yeah.
That's good.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Luba,
Yeah, I can't believe that.
For you. I'll send you a little picture so you can get a good one for like your podcast like title or whatever.
Oh my gosh, I love it. We have a hat that says FAFO on it that we wear sometimes.
I mean, it's kind of the theme for 2024, right?
Yeah.
It's a theme for life.
Agreed. Agreed. Absolutely. I feel like with the beauty industry, like what's been happening and all the things that we've seen and all the experiences that we've been having as I want to say like a collective group, we're kind of just like at that point of like shouting FAFO at the top of our lungs and being like, calm the fuck on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
like, we're not going to start it, but if you bring it up, watch out.
The Aristocats.
Yes, ladies, finish them.
Yes. She's like, ladies do not start fights, but we finish.
Love that. Isn't there a Taylor Swift line too, talking about like she doesn't start it, but she'll finish it? Isn't it in Vigilante?
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. So yeah, I'm Athena, the Estie Bestie. I do have a trademark in multiple classes. I do not have a trademark for the phrase because that would be rude. But I do have a trademark for certain classes that I am operating my business in, which is the e-commerce space, which is my products, which are my social media outlets, because I talk about skincare and I educate in skincare, and I also have it for education purposes. So if you want to say it all day. Don't come for me because you think you can't say it. You can.
Okay, good clarification. That's important. We are in the middle of a trademark right now. I'm not going to say what it is, but it will be similar in the sense where it can also be a phrase that is used commonly in the industry. And we're trying to navigate, like, how do we get it and what class can we get it in for it to make sense and have us own it. So that's good that you clarified that. That makes a lot of sense for where we're at this week.
Yeah. Well, you obviously, do you have a trademark attorney yet?
Okay,
so then they'll be able to.
Yeah, we have several trademarks, and we've got a really great attorney.
That is
yeah. My name is trademarked.
Easy.
Love that.
Yeah.
Luba, like Sharon Madonna, one word. I love
That's right. They're like, what's your last name? There is no last name.
Yeah, you have to prove like you're a living being. Like when you trademark your name, as like celebrities do for likeness and use, you have to provide like a birth certificate and everything that way. So definitely different type of trademark and different process than standard trademarking.
Yeah. So Athena, tell us about patents. That's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. Yeah, I feel like that is so cool and so uncommon in our industry for anybody to have a patent, let alone a esthetician, not like a whole brand, and you have it on a product that is very widely used. So tell us how that has been as well.
So I have a patent. It was pending. It is now officially patented for ice globes with glitter or anything inside of them. That's like glitter feety or anything like that. My patent was filed in October of, I want to say 2020. It was filed in June 2020. It was accepted as patent pending in October 2020. So for the last almost 4 years, I've been sitting here watching, waiting, praying to the cotton gods that my cotton goes through. And of course it did. We all saw that debacle unfold on TikTok, social media, in combination with my trademark. It's like I literally put like, I don't know, a bomb off in the industry and everyone just started like going crazy in a frenzy over it. But yeah, so I mean, if you're a small individual business owner and you have an idea, you can absolutely still be successful in getting a patent and positioning yourself to own your IP. I think it's really important.
So what the people that are listening that don't know about what happened and what blew up, can you give us a little history on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's such drama. People were upset, estheticians were upset because of, and this is my take on it, because of misinformation that was being spread about my trademark and misunderstanding and being uneducated. Because it's not something that someone is commonly educated in, right? So if you're not educated in trademarks, it's not an insult to say you're not educated. It's just an encouragement to say, hey, stop. Try to, like, you know, learn a little bit more about something before you speak on it, because you can be misinformed and commenting when you don't know what you're talking about, right? So that's kind of what happened with my trademark, as well as with my patent. People were like, you didn't invent that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I never claimed to invent ice globes. Those have been around for so long. What I did do is I changed the design of them so they last longer. I changed the inside of what was able to be done, right? And I changed the design overall. So I have a design patent. That is why I got my patent. So that's what happened. In a nutshell.
Is there tea on the trademark Estie Bestie, or do I just have insider information?
Definitely, you have some insider information, but really, I mean, honestly, I've been so transparent about everything. I don't hide anything about Estie Bestie. I mean, there's been people that claim that I have sent cease and desist and things like that, and I literally laugh when I go into these, you know, silly Facebook groups. I'm like, guys, I haven't sent a single cease and desist on Estie Bestie. So, like, the misinformation for me, and my PR manager has told me I need to say it this way. I say nasty. She says that I have to say it as unsupportive. So it's very unsupportive when people are commenting and they have no idea.
Of that, unsupportive. Gonna be a new code word, right? Too.
We call them unhinged.
Unhinged and unsupportive.
Yeah, unhinged people.
It's just not an insult for me.
I'm
I'm empowered by unhinged.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel like
Claim it
you saw
back.
an opportunity because, yeah, you're right. Ice globes have been around for a while, but if you're using it every day and you see the opportunity to improve it, like everyone should be supportive of that because it'll help them too.
Yeah, I mean, I had really hoped that people would see what I'm doing and be encouraged and empowered to be creative and, you know, be empowered to be a solo esthetician, right? And be a solo business owner. Be somebody who can take something and make something better. There's no shame in that at all. There is no shame in claiming what you know you can make better and bigger and have a brand behind. There's no shame in that. As long as you're doing it ethically and legally, what's gonna stop you? A bunch of little Facebook sheep? Not me.
Luba, what's your saying about the pie? I feel like this is a perfect moment.
I always say that people fight over the same piece of pie when in reality we should be going out and baking more pies.
Yeah.
Amen. Mic drop.
Amen. Yeah, but that brings me to another point. I mean, you know, I've noticed in the last few years that the people that scream from the rooftops, like, oh, community over competition, those are the ones that are the least, community of them all. And I've learned that in a few different ways, and I'm sure you guys have experienced that as a company as well. Like, people scream it, and they don't really mean it. They're just screaming it to get the showcase from it.
You know what's wild about that comment? And it hasn't happened too often, but We literally kidnap people to stay in our class for the full hour. Like, you have to commit to the full hour or else you have to leave.
Yeah.
And with that, it's because, like, I always say that you have to learn about the story on who we are and then decide if you want to give us your money. You have to invest in yourself, give yourself the hour. So we talk about collaboration over competition and how important that is. And then I also give examples of when I owned waxing salons, how gatekeeping the employees were for, like, when I was trying to sell my wax to the person across the street. Like, I give all these examples. And then there's always like one or two people every third show that stay afterwards and ask me about an exclusive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you just not take in what we spoke about for an hour?
Yeah. Yeah. They don't. It's like, I mean, you could say everything that you're saying, you could provide everything still, and they still want to, I feel like, ask for more and not be supportive by paying
And
you for your
yeah,
information, your knowledge.
supportive, it's huge. Piggybacking off of this subject. So we recently, right, as a brand, went into a waxing location that has multiple locations. And, we've always been there for the solopreneur. Like, it's a huge thing for us. But, at the end of the day, we're working on building a brand too, and we believe in it, we love it, and we want to share it with the world. And it was like, we were so excited for this to happen because it was, something, it was big news for us. And it was 99% of, our customers were so happy for us. Congratulations. My God, this is amazing. Blah, 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 blah. And then Becca got this one DM and it was just like, well, what about us? And we were all just like, we'll be there for you. Just like we have always been. Like, we're growing our business just like you are.
Yeah.
And it's just,
It's a
about
little
support.
disheartening.
And it is. And
Yeah,
I've
it
been in
was.
the salon industry forever, like 17 and a half years. I had come from Cosmo background. And it's so funny to me to like see the environment change, because when I started, doing hair years and years ago, it was, that cattiness in the salon was a thing. And, then it started to go away. And then everybody did the rooms and then everyone was supportive. But it's like, I hate when it just like pokes through sometimes. But I would say 99% of everyone else is super supportive.
That's good. Yeah, it's hard not to be emotional too when you're triggered, because like really the good that have been triggered for you. It's really hard not to react to those blindsides when you especially weren't expecting it from a specific person. It's like, oh wow, I really triggered something within them to feel, for them to feel that they needed to say something that wasn't positive at all towards building a relationship, working together, or being supportive. Like, you must have really triggered something for them.
Yeah,
started to
just
get-
that like scarcity mindset, and you're gonna take business away from me. And what I wrote back to her was like, marketing is marketing. The more popular Bright gets, your clients are gonna find out. They're gonna hear about it somewhere from a friend, or they're gonna see it online or something, and they're gonna go to you because they already have a relationship with you and they trust you and they like you, and they're gonna say, "Hey, have you heard about this? What do you think?" Like, I was like, your clients are not going to leave and go to this chain. And if they do, then if
You're
there's
doing a
multiple
shitty
of
job.
them, you need to change something in your business. Or if it's just one or two, they were going to leave anyways because they're just going to hunt for, more convenience or a cheaper price, or there's something that they're looking for.
Yeah.
And she did come around after we spoke about it like that. But I was like, the scarcity mindset in some people is so strong, and that could be from so many things, right? Yeah.
Tell a lot of people when they say, like, can I have an exclusive, or, will you not sell to this person in my area? I just look at them and say, you need to look at your business and you need to do better. Like, if this is where you're spending your time,
straight exclusivity. Wow.
Yeah, like, you need to do better. If you're that worried, what are the things that you are not doing in your business? And then as far as, like, responding to people, I've just started, like, especially over the last couple months, I've just started to take a stand of say less. Let them talk, say less. It is not worth it. You're not going to win them over. They're never going to be happy. You're never going to see a change. say less. And like, they are not worth it, right? I always refer to them as like the C customer or like the C partner, where like you can try and try and try, and maybe they'll be a B at times, but they'll never be an A.
Yeah.
And you spend it's the 80-20 rule, right? You spend 80% of your time trying to make those clients an A client, when if you really focus on your A relationships, that's what brings in the money. And they don't take 80% of your time.
A's hang out with A's. C's may get degrees, but A's hang out with A's.
I love that.
Yes, that's the new t-shirt.
That's so cute. But on the flip
Now,
side, most of them are supportive. So it's just like surprising when those come around. Yeah, we're lucky with bright customers.
We just did a new t-shirt. I don't know if Becca's put it out yet. We did it as a post. I posted it. I don't know if Becca's posted it yet. But we had a situation in New York, and one of our designers heard about the situation and made a shirt that said, because it was a man, of course, and it said, being a dick doesn't make yours any bigger.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that one was good. And that story.
Like, sometimes the strap-on's bigger than the one you got.
Yeah, and sometimes even the fake ones are better.
What are you competing with now?
No, I'm kidding. That's funny.
Oh,
and
man.
that story in particular that inspired that phrase reminds me of your podcast episode, Athena, which we'll put in the show description if you haven't listened to it, you guys. But she's really good at telling you what goes on behind the scenes in the industry. She has no holds barred. And you were talking about what happens at the trade shows as a vendor or an exhibitor, like that you don't realize behind the scenes. You know, the financial part of it, the networking part of it, and then also the biggest one to me that like I am always gobsmacked of is how some people act to other exhibitors behind the scenes, and then they're a totally different person to the customer.
Oh, yeah.
Or to like the forward-facing aesthetics community. And so that was what inspired that t-shirt. Was there's a I'm sure we've talked about it before, but there was a brand whose owner was very rude to Luba. And like tried to intimidate her, and like he wanted to fight. He was like puffing on his chest and like looking down on her and yelling in her face. And
he's ridiculous.
Like I just and then you go on the show floor and it's like all butterflies and rainbows. I'm sorry, I can't.
What I would have done, I would have sat front row and stared at him that entire time. I would have been like,
oh, the biggest revenge was he had on a good class, because we were showing a classroom. So this, if you go back and do your homework, you'll find out who it is. They had like maybe 5 people in their classes, and we had like over 100 that were lined up. So like, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to say anything.
The curse is in the way. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had another situation too, same show. Where an owner of a skincare line that was just blatantly rude to one of our bright babes who tried to purchase product from them, like wanted to give him business, and he turned around and basically, can I say like maybe
kind of racist?
Yes, I was gonna say it was racist. Like called out her ethnicity and said, "I don't need
your type of people."
Yeah.
And she wanted to buy 60 units of something. 60. Like, she was about to drop bans, and he was like, I don't do business with, like, your people, is basically what he said.
Oh, he has no interest in the medical doctor.
She's a dermatologist.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a big company.
Yeah.
Huge.
Why did it go back to the whole scarcity thing?
And the audacity, though, like,
is on sale.
Literally.
That's what one of our trainers said. She says the audacity must be on sale at Walmart.
I love that. The audacity is BOGO right now.
Yeah, like, that's what she says.
Yeah.
That's for sale.
And
Yeah, so just like the behind the scenes of the shit that you see that, you know, you don't see on social media. It's like you really got to do your homework and double check who you're doing business with.
And that's why I feel like that's where I'm best at, because like I had nothing to hide. I have been called out by big brands. I have been censored by big brands. And at the end of the day, if you want to call me out and make up a story about me, that's fine. But bet your ass I'm the one with receipts and I'm going to say something. So, like, it's taken this industry, I think, about 4 full years to really understand that every single one of the scenarios that I have gone through, I'm literally like probably the most dragged esthetician in this industry. But every single one of those experiences, I've had receipts. I have spoken the truth. And you won't catch me on the flip side making up a story. But like you said, I am a woman and I will not start a fight, but I will finish it. And I have. And I think that's what really has kind of positioned the Estie Bestie brand into people wanting to be an Estie Bestie with me because they can get the truth from me. And that's the point. That was the whole purpose of this brand to begin with. Like, I want to be a bestie for people to understand how to look at companies, to understand how to protect their own businesses, how to be creative, how to lean in where you're supposed to lean in for yourself, not for everybody else, right? And that's the purpose behind the brand.
I love that.
Thanks.
You have somebody, you're somebody who sticks up for you and like looks out for you. And you know, through social media, that's wonderful to have because so many people are clueless as to where to start. And it's like, you know, newbies even, or people who are seasoned, they, you know, don't get to experience some of these things because maybe, you know, like they don't use social media like others or they don't get as involved. So I feel you're doing everyone a favor. It's a helpful.
Well, and also like think of all the brands that have had similar experiences. Like you guys have had experiences with other brands, and like you feel, I'm sure there's a moment where you're like, man, I can't talk about this because it's unprofessional, or it might make me look bad. And like I kind of just, you know, I kept a lot of stuff inside for a really long time, and I kind of just got to the point where I was like, fuck that, I don't care anymore. Because after being dragged the way that I have been dragged, there was nothing anybody could do to me on false bullshit lies that they were telling anyway that would affect me or my business any more than it already had. So fuck it. And that's where I'm at. So being like a brand or a business, I get it. There's moments where like you don't want to comment on something because of professionalism. But then when it happens to you and none of your friends stand up and say, hey, I saw this is what's happening, that sucks too. So it's like, are you going to be that friend that stands up for somebody, or are you going to just stay silent and let it happen and let them get blacklisted and shunned and all the shit that we know happens and does on a routine basis?
We get a lot of comments from people on like, or I get a lot of comments on like, how did you build this team? This team is so incredible. How did you find these people? What did you do? And I think it's exactly what you said. Like, we have a safe space to talk about whatever we need to talk about, and everyone is supported. And my whole attitude, like, I really don't give a fuck attitude about so these shows where I talk about the men in this industry and how they're trying to sell you something, but it looks like they don't even use a 3-in-1 shampoo. They're definitely not using their own products, right? And I talk about this stuff so openly that I think like these solopreneurs that have come and joined the bright side as bright babes now have like a tribe, and they feel supported in that way too. And I hear it all the time when in New York, I was like, we had a really tough time. Like they were trying to cancel us. And I said on the last day, or not the last day, after the first day when we did our team meeting, I just said, I want louder, I want more twerking, and I want you to stay disruptive. And I remember a couple of the girls were like, oh my God, we have like the best leader. This is like, who would do that after we've been like shunned and spoken down to and bullied and told the way that we have to act? And that one, like specifically, I was so mad about, because the whole situation with Puffy Chest Boy, we went and we like, you know, reported it obviously to the show people. And then they
didn't give a shit.
No, they came back around and told us how to behave. and that this is the structure and the rules of what's going to happen. And I was like, hold on a second.
No,
Like
ethics.
you just had someone that like literally like verbally attacked me and bullied me and threatened me, and you want to lay down rules for me?
Yeah, there's no ethics. And that's another thing. These events that are happening, I hope they wake up, because you can keep getting people to pay you to be there to be a vendor, but when everyone realizes you're unethical because you don't protect the vendors that have paid you to be there and you refuse to quote unquote cause a scene, how about we set an example and say, hey, this behavior will never be accepted, and we have standards, because that's what we expect going into a show as ticket holder. We expect standards, and we expect, because I've been on both sides too, I expect to be able to trust that company that I'm walking up to, because if they're here, they should be trusted. And there's no background checks, there's no ethical contracts, and even with the contracts, I haven't seen one event that I've ever been at actually say, get the fuck out, that behavior's not accepted here, and move on.
No, because they just want to collect a paycheck. Like they are fit over people. 1,000%.
100%.
There's a company that went under 3 or 4 different names. 4 different names. And I was like, this isn't allowed.
Red
like,
flag.
why is this happening? They're like, well, we just didn't really look into it, but you took their money.
Of course
Yeah,
they
they
did.
absolutely took their money. I want to talk this one just a little bit, but every company is listed by their business name. We are Bright. Okay, we're listed as Bright. This just so happened to be a competitor and is a desperate attempt at trying to take our clients, because they, once again, there's scarcity. They don't think that their product is good enough to compete with ours, and literally, instead of going by their name, they went by Intimate Bleaching or Intimate, like, what was it, Becca? Bleaching or Lightning?
Intimate Lightning.
Isn't
And
that
they
so
like
hard?
listed themselves as the category.
Oh,
So
so
I
they
reached
tried
out
to
and I
get
was
like
like,
SEO on the paperwork there.
yes.
Yeah. Cringy, like, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cringy. But again, if you don't know that and you're just an attendee, and we know that as business owners, if you're an attendee, you're going to see that.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Oh, I'm looking for that. I'm going to go there. Yeah.
Wait. So
That would be like your brand listing, it's like your permanent jewelry brand listing yourself.
permanent jewelry.
Yeah, rather than like your brand name. Which would be great if we could all do that. That would be awesome. Of course, it would help drive traffic to your booth.
There you go.
Listed like that on the program, but like we're playing by the rules.
Yeah.
So let's
Not
like
everybody does. I would say 10% actually does. Because one, they're either uneducated in what is, legally allowed to be done and accessing business education the right way, right? Or even promoting business education the right way. And then the other, 90% is, shifty. So they know how to do it right. They're choosing to do it wrong because they know they can get away with it because there's no ethical standards in the beauty industry right now.
There's no enforcement.
It's because it's all run by men. I'm a huge believer.
Every minute we get into school, there's
Huge
no
believer.
enforcement of ethical standards.
Yeah, run by men. That's why. It's true.
That's Luba's stance.
That's my stance. It's run by men, and 99% of the people that attend are female.
Well, I can tell you that I've had the only people calling bullies is by men. And that have called me to threaten to sue me as the man.
Yeah, sister, we could have coffee about that all day.
Right?
Do you even know that? This is like what blows my mind. Like the man that sued me, like I never met him.
Oh, that's fear.
Yeah.
I know of this man because I'm from.
But have you ever met him?
Oh yeah, I've met him.
Oh, you have. Okay.
Yeah, I've met him when he showed up, and the whole story's on my Facebook page too. If you want to see that, it's pinned at the top. The Estie Bestie on Facebook. The whole story is there. When I was at an event as a paid sponsor for a nonprofit organization, this man decided that he was going to show up and promote with another company that's very, very big. His courses and his things in competition, direct competition with mine, and talk shit about my course the entire time. Try to get into the VIP party, all these other things. It's so cringe. It's so sad for him. And that was that. And he got a cease and desist, and that company got a cease and desist. And that's that.
The whole like talking shit is like why people can't coexist, having similar, like whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
The talking shit is where I'm just done.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not to say that we're like against competition. Like that is the world we live in. It's a fair market. What we're talking about is like when someone specifically goes out of their way to push down your business to like increase theirs. Like we talk shit all day long, but we never use names.
Yeah.
We never use identifying features. It's like we're following HIPAA, okay? Whereas like a lot of our competitors, they'll outright talk shit on our name. And like that's when we have a problem. It's like we never, even if someone walks up to us point blank and says, what's the difference between Apple and Windows? We don't say like the other company's name. We don't say anything. We say, well, I don't know anything about them. I'm an expert on Bright. Let me tell you about Bright.
Yeah.
That's our stance. Like,
yeah.
So it's not about competition. And we do have some competitors we have no problem with. There are a few that go out of their way to just play dirty. There's enough
like,
people
just
to go
leave us
around.
alone. Like, do your business, leave us alone, stop inserting yourself into drama. First of all, you're going to cause drama when you act that way. And if you're acting that way expecting not to get a response, you're out of your damn mind. One, I'm not the one.
But you know, it's because, and I talked about this in one of our presentations, as young girls, we are always told to shh, and to be quiet, and to be respectful, and go give Uncle Joey a hug when we're like, I don't want to touch Uncle Joey. But like, we're just told to just be quiet and not have a voice. Like that is ingrained in us from a very young age. And this is why people in the industry, specifically men, this can be like a men hating podcast. Sorry, Becca. I'm very off. What do you say? You're a PR nightmare. Not all men. We love some men. But it gives them the power because this is how we've been raised as young women. And then they feel that they have the right to say and do, and we're the ones that are either not going to say something, we're not going to speak up, we're going to tolerate it, we want to remain professional, or we're just going to back down.
Yeah. Or we're told we're aggressive, when we're really just assertive. Or we're told we have daddy issues, which 90% of every human being has daddy issues. Let's just really talk about that. Or mommy issues. Everybody has parental issues at some point in their life. Have you been to puberty? I'm sure. So those are things that are used against us too. So when we finally do find that we're okay to stand up for ourselves, we are exposed to those traumatic phrases and expectations that should never have been set for us.
I agree.
Yeah.
We don't hate men. We love good men. There's a difference. Good men with character and integrity.
Yeah.
We'll hang out all day long.
All day long.
There's a lot of men that are subpar.
And it just so
There's
happens
a lot.
Usually the ones who feel the need to try to say something or do something to try to shut a woman down because he expects her to be quiet when finally women are at the point where, like, no, we're going to say something.
Erin, I mean, it's not an example because it happened to you, but you use it as an example about the guy that told you about between your nose and your chin. Talk about that. My
God. So when I was younger, I've always been kind of, I'm a loudmouth, which is fine, but that's probably a term a man gave me at some point. And I always I have a son who's 9, almost 10, and I always tell him, like, there's a way to be assertive and aggressive without being disrespectful. You have a mouth, you need to use it. You have a voice, use it. When I was in my 20s, I dated this guy who told me that I was near perfect besides the thing above my chin and below my nose, my mouth. And I was like, and it just stuck with me ever since. And I'm like, now that I get older and I get to the point where I don't fucking care anymore. I always tell Luba, I'm like, I tell people this all the time. You don't pay your bills with other people's opinions. So I fucking say what I want to. And that one thing It's not kind of, it definitely stuck with me, that to the point where I talk about it, but now I feel like it's almost empowering because it's like I have a voice. I'm gonna absolutely use it. I don't give a fuck what you think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's empowering. And I use it as motivation now.
Yeah, above my chin, below my nose. What an asshole.
Hey, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
Everyone's got one.
And some of them are unbleached.
Mine's
Yes.
unbleached. Mine's not bleached.
Oh, we'll have to fix that, Athena.
There's some
Good,
bad.
good.
I'm joking.
I'm sure Nathan will love that.
Yeah. You can take before and afters.
Yeah, I get my hemorrhoid over there. You know I had 2 kids, right?
Oh, girl, I know. I know that. all too
I'm not
well.
ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my food. I'm not ashamed when my hemorrhoid comes out.
I've loved having you on our podcast. You're so fun. I hope that we get to have you on again.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because I know there's probably going to be a lot of tea happening over the summer.
I can't wait.
Oh, wait.
I mean, after this episode.
Wait,
we'll
where's
get-
the next
I know, wait
show?
a second there. We don't hate men. We
No,
just have the
no.
most
No.
opposition and uncomfortable conversations in business when doing business around men in this industry. And it's, you know, I mean, I could honestly tell you, like, from the feedback, like, from females, like, sometimes I really women in this industry too. And I mean that into my core. Like, I get so disheartened and being, you know, many times I've been flown I'm not in the roles for all because I want someone to use my trademarks. Like, it's not about that, honey. It's business. You can hate me all you want, but I own it. That doesn't mean I'm not a girl's girl. I'm not gonna sleep with your husband. I'm not gonna take your best friend from you. I'm not gonna put you down in any sort of way. You will never see me. I've never put anyone down just going out of my way to do it. That's not what I do. But if you can't tell me throw around, I just I'm doing that myself. So, like, sometimes the women are really, really awful too. So I just encourage people to just not be like that as a man or a woman.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, we already have one. We don't need to be one.
Yeah, supportive. That's all we want.
There you go. I love it. So, Athena, tell the listeners where they can find you. Where do you want them to go? Your website, your Instagram, your podcast.
Sure. So you can find me at all things on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the Estie Bestie. That's my handle for everything. You can find my podcast is called The Estie Bestie Tea Time. And then my website, theestiebestie.com.
Beautiful. So go check her out. See what she's all about. I'll link that podcast episode I talked about in particular because I think that one is very aligned with what we talk about. If you're interested in being an exhibitor at these trade shows, you have to listen to this before you do, just so that you're aware. And even as an attendee, too, we need to be more discerning and take off the rose-colored glasses and not put people on a pedestal because of their name or how many followers they have. And you need to be discerning and look at their actions is, I think, the advice that we all have. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I just know this is going to be the beginning of a wonderful relationship. And we'll see you guys next week.